Sir, good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Vishnu, sir.
Sir.
Hello, Vishnu, sir.
Sir, Vishnu Vantara.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. I'm fine. How are you, sir?
How are you, sir? Vishnu. Real. Happy to see you after a long time. Happy to see you.
Thank you, sir. Same here, sir. Same here, sir. Very happy to see all everybody, sir, including principal, sir. Thank you so much for coming, for inaugurating.
Thank you. Vishnu, shall we start, sir? Shall we start?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are ready to go, sir. Yes, we can start, sir.
Okay. You can start.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Stay safe, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I give a formal welcome.
Okay.
Mr. Vishnu. At the end of the session, we may have the question and answer section.
Sure, sir.
Then vote of thanks. With this agenda, we will do. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sadiq, shall we start?
Sir, we can start. We can start, sir.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Very good afternoon to all.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, today's webinar is on additive manufacturing for healthcare industry. The name itself, it's saying it is additive manufacturing. By adding material, we are going to manufacture. In the conventional technique, we do manufacturing by removal of materials. But in this new technology, the 3D printing, otherwise called as additive manufacturing, here we are doing by adding the materials. The main advantage of this technology is avoiding wastage. We can say nil wastage. This is a new technology in manufacturing. To what extent this new technology is applicable in healthcare sector, healthcare product manufacturing? This will be explained in detail by Vishnu, the resource person of today's webinar. At the outset, I am very happy to welcome today's resource person, Mr. Vishnu, young, agile, energetic, and strategic startuppreneur, founder CEO of Macan Innovations, Coimbatore. Happy to welcome you, Vishnu, sir. I am very happy to welcome respected head of the Department of Medical Elelctronics of Sengunthar College of Engineering, Professor Sadiq Raja, and all our faculty members, all my dear participants. I am very happy to welcome you all. Now the session will be continued by Mr. Vishnu sir. At the end of the session, we have question and answer section. The participants are requested to post your queries and doubts, questions in chat box. At the end of the session, you will be answered. All your questions and queries will be clarified by the resource person. I wish this program for its grand success and wish all the participants for persuasive learning. Thank you very much. Now I request our Vishnu sir to continue the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Vishnu sir, please. Vishnu sir.
Yeah. Very good morning. I request everybody to unmute your audios, mute your audios so that it doesn't disturb anybody else. Everybody's audio can be muted. A very good morning to one and all present here. Present at your own homes. I don't know where all people. So like this is the only thing which connecting us is somebody's audio is not muted. Can you please mute the audio? So yeah, very good. So it is requested to mute your audios again. So once it is ready, we are good to go. We are good to go. This is a webinar, a virtual classroom series. We are connected in internet. So what is the topic of today is nothing but 3D printing and additive manufacturing in healthcare. As principals are already told, what is additive manufacturing? Additive manufacturing is nothing but a technology, a recent technology which is booming in today's world in manufacturing. So how is it going to help us? Help how is it going to help engineers of medical electronics department? See, like every single engineer here, like there are almost like 50 60 participants in this webinar. So what is the point of attending this? What is the point of investing 1 hour in this session? So that is the most important point. We need to know, we need to assess ourselves. We need to assess ourselves. You ask yourselves that why am I here? So that is the first question when you do something, asking the first question is why am I here? Why are you all here? See, I'm here to give a general overview of 3D printing and additive manufacturing in healthcare to the students of Sengunthar Engineering College of the Department Medical Electronics. So I need to be very precise of additive manufacturing in healthcare or highly focused on medical electronics department, because most of the participants are from medical electronics department. So I welcome you all to this webinar session, to this virtual classroom series, webinar 1. The principal sir already introduced me. I'm Vishnu, so I don't think I need an introduction. I'm Vishnu, CEO founder of Man Innovations. It is a Coimbatore based company. It is a 3-year-old startup. We are working on different technologies, various newer technologies, and towards healthcare, which includes additive manufacturing, augmented and virtual reality. We also work on biosignal systems. I'll tell you that come we'll touch that in the later versions, because I need to cover up everything. So yeah, moving on to the slides, moving on to the next slide. Yeah, this is me, Vishnu. It is the same Vishnu. So like I'm the CEO founder of Man Innovations. I'll just give a small introduction later about me if time permits. So yeah, coming to 3D printing. What is 3D printing? What does the name tell us? 3D printing. What comes to your mind? Like instantly what comes to your mind? 3D printing. 3D is nothing but something which has 3 dimensions, and printing is something which prints. So 3D printing, 3 dimensional printing. So 3D printing has nothing to do with the conventional printing method. For example, 3D printing is nothing but, as principals are already said, it is deposition of layer and layer. It is an additive manufacturing technology. I'll tell you an example. How is a door manufactured? Okay, let's say a door is manufactured from a tree. The raw material of a door is a tree. We take up a tree, we cut it down, an entire log is taken, it is sliced, and then we take it, we carve it, we polish it. So these are the steps involved in a manufacturing of a door. So there was a log of wood, we sliced it, we subtracted things from it, and we got a door. This is one example of subtractive manufacturing. So everybody would have seen making muruk, like everybody are from Tamil Nadu. So I hope you all know how to make muruk. Muruk is something which is an example of an additive manufacturing technology. The dough is placed in the cast and it is pressed. Uh, a mechanical strength is given to it, and it is molded through a hole, and it is deposited in layers. It is layer by layer deposition of materials. It is an example of additive manufacturing. This is an example of additive manufacturing. So there are already hundreds of manufacturing technologies. So why additive manufacturing or 3D printing? It is generally called as 3D printing colloquially, but technically it is called as additive manufacturing. 3D printing is a part of additive manufacturing. Okay, I'll again explain it to you. This is one layer of paper. The paper has 3 dimensions. Most of us will assume that a paper is two-dimensional, but a paper is again three-dimensional. It has height, breadth, and thickness. It is three-dimensional. Okay, no physical object is two-dimensional. Every physical object is three-dimensional. Only digital objects are two-dimensional. Okay, so we are making a digital model into a physical object by layer addition of materials is called additive manufacturing. Okay, I hope everybody understood what is additive manufacturing, and I'll give an overview of what will be today's session. I'll show you a few examples of what additive manufacturing can do, how it can be done, and how does it help healthcare? How does it help improve healthcare? See, what do we do? Oh, we all are engineers. So what do engineers do? Engineers generally give solutions to problems. So what are the existing problems? What are the solutions? Which is in the current scenario what we are giving? I'll tell you that. And you being engineers, what you people do? You will come up with newer ideas. These, see, for example, why is your college, why do we have colleges, why do we have lecturers? So having lecturers and staffs is not to educate you people, not only to educate you people, it is to help you come up with newer ideas. So that is why engineering colleges are very different from schools where we have syllabuses. In engineering colleges, there are syllabuses to help you think out of the books. Okay. So by the end of the session, I hope everybody gets an overview of what additive manufacturing is, what it can do with healthcare, simply speaking, simply telling, it will give you an idea why did everybody attend this 1 hour session. You will get this. I hope everybody is interested. Everybody should be interested to learn more after this session gets over. As we have time constraints, I'll tell you a brief of what it can be done. Okay. So yeah. So talking about scope, why did we all come up here? Scope of additive manufacturing in healthcare. What is the projections? The projections is almost 1000 million in the next 1 year. It was proposed to be 1000 million in the healthcare in 2020. As 2020, the part of 2020 is hold up with lockdowns and nationwide lockdowns, and the manufacturing sector is almost down in the past 3 months. So what is it going to, how is it going to help in the next coming era or the post pandemic era? So we all are held up with pandemic. So how are we going to improve it? How are we going to help healthcare with additive manufacturing post pandemic and pre pandemic? What was it pre pandemic? How is it going to be post pandemic? Okay, 20.8% is the CAGR of the forecast period. So that is faster than any other manufacturing technology. See, additive manufacturing is also called as the fourth industrial revolution. How many of you are using mobile phones today, Android mobile phones or any smartphone today? Almost every single person is having a single mobile phone in his hand. So that is how the growth of mobile phones were. That is the same amount, that is the expected growth of additive manufacturing. In US, it is expected by 2025, every household will be having an additive manufacturing machine. So that is how the growth of additive manufacturing in the current scenario. Okay. Fair. Coming to applications. So I told what additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing is nothing but layer by layer deposition of materials to bring a digital object into a physical world. See, for example, I have a digital mobile phone here. This is a mobile phone or a tablet. I have a digital file here. How will I prototype it? How will I manufacture it? It is a manufacturing technology. Okay. So what can it do in healthcare? One is anatomical models. Anatomical models are nothing but models used for study purposes in medical colleges, used for study purposes in healthcare industry. In, for example, doctors can use it for educating themselves, educating the patients. So that is anatomical models, customized anatomical models. Prosthetics. Prosthetics are nothing but support structures which are placed inside or outside your body to support the existing system. For example, if I don't have a finger, I'm missing a finger. Okay. So what will I do? I'll go to a doctor. Like my finger got cut. I have only 3 fingers. I'm not able to eat properly. So I'll go to a doctor. What will the doctor do? The doctor will ask me to go for an implant or a prosthetic. So he'll design a prosthetic for me and he'll fix it. So there are conventional technologies making prosthetics. So why go for additive manufacturing? If you need customized perfect fit prosthetic, you need to go for additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing is the only available technology which can provide customized solutions to healthcare. Customized solutions for manufacturing of any healthcare device can only be possible with additive manufacturing. But there are conventional technologies which are better, which have better resolution, which are better than additive manufacturing, but fails in giving customization. So that is why we all need to know of additive manufacturing. So prosthetics, another thing is endoskeleton. Endoskeleton is nothing but again support structures which supports, for example, if I'm not able to lift my hand, I'll give an external support to my hand so that it helps me in moving. Okay, so that is endoskeleton. Surgical planning. Surgical planning is another important another important factor in additive manufacturing in healthcare. For example, if I'm going for a surgery, if I'm going for a heart surgery, what will I do? What will the doctors do? They'll plan my surgery prior to the they'll plan my surgery prior to my actual surgery. How will they plan it? They need to have multiple models. So they need my health models to be printed or to be modeled, and they'll do surgery. They'll study the purposes. So study for a purpose of doing the exact surgery. Precise surgical planning is required, and it is most necessary coming to additive manufacturing. So we have additive manufacturing again. Implants. What are implants? We have dental implants, we have heart implants, we have bone implants, we have skeletal implants. Implants are of multiple types. Implants are nothing but again support structures which are placed inside the body to support the existing system. Okay, we already have a system. Human body is a system. We already have a system. So what are we talking about? We are talking about diagnosis, therapy, and rehabilitation. Okay, these are the three steps in any healthcare. If you go with a disease, one is if I have a fever, what is the first step? It is diagnosis. What is the next step? It is therapy or treatment. They give me a few treatments. What is the next step? Rehabilitation, to revive me out of the stress or pressure or the impact of the treatment and the fever. We come out. So these are the three types. Again, diagnosis, or there is one more called prognosis. Prognosis is nothing but which we do now today in Google. We type these are the symptoms. What do I have? I have a symptom of headache. What are the possible causes? So that is not the exact way of prognosis. One is prognosis, diagnosis, uh, therapy, and rehabilitation. These are the three types. So we are going to know how additive manufacturing is helping in diagnosis, therapy, and rehabilitation. Okay. So yeah, I'll show you anatomical models coming to diagnosis. So what diagnosis? For example, I have a jaw bone. I need to go for a jaw bone replacement. Okay, my mandibular bone. I'll have to go for mandibular replacement. So what will I do? I'll go to a doctor. What will the doctor do? The doctor will take an X-ray of my mandibular bone, and he'll generally look at the X-ray scans, and he'll check with what it can be done, how it can be replaced. For example, I'll show you an example of a mandibular 3D printed mandibular bone. This is a 3D printed mandibular bone which is 3D printed from an actual X-ray. Okay, from an actual X-ray, it was 3D printed. It is a good looking bone. It has no defects. But I'll show you another example. I have another mandibular bone which is fractured and an implant is placed over it. This is a metal implant placed over the same mandibular bone is fractured, a metal implant is placed over it. So this is the exact fit of it. So when you see the fit of the bone, it is absolute. So sorry, it is absolute. So we need not go for any other technology. With additive manufacturing, placing of implants which is customized for any disease or any disorder can be manufactured. So this is implant. So coming to prosthetics or coming to anatomical models, this is an anatomical model of an elbow. Okay, this is a model of an elbow. This is used only for educational purposes. Such models can be used only for educational purposes. Models can be used for anatomical models for used for educational purposes. But coming to prosthetics. Coming to prosthetics or braces. Okay, braces are nothing but, for example, if I go for a fracture, if I go through a fracture, what will I go? What will I do? I'll go to a doctor. The doctor will take my X-ray and he'll place a brace over my hand. This is a prosthetic brace designed for. This is not designed for hand. This is designed for leg. I'll show you the entire thing. This is the brace. Okay, again customization is the most important part, because today we use plaster of Paris and cotton. What is the property of plaster of Paris? Plaster of Paris absorbs moisture, so it absorbs all the moisture from your skin, helping in inducing deterioration of your skin cells. Okay, because your moisture is being removed, it deteriorates the moisture in your skin cells, so it deteriorates, so it increases the amount of healing time. So by placing implants, by placing braces which are customized using additive manufacturing, it can increase the it can decrease the healing time, it can improve, it can enhance the wound healing process. So this is called braces. Okay, I'll show you another example. This is a prosthetic leg, a functional prosthetic leg. It can be used to facilitate movement. Okay, it can facilitate movement. For this, a prosthetics can facilitate movements, because every prosthetic need to be designed to facilitate movements. See, for example, if I don't have a finger, if I keep a replacement finger which is not functional, yeah, it will do the purpose. But what if I am amputated below my hip? Below my hip is completely amputated. How will I replace it with a non-functional prosthetic? So I needed to make it functional. To make it functional, what we need to know? We need to know medical electronics. That is where you people come in. Okay, so to make it functional, what will you do? You need motors, you need geared motors. So how will you power it up? You need to power it up using, you can use it to, you can power it up using batteries. Okay, what batteries? Lithium ion batteries, which consume very less power but can last long, because I can't charge it every now and then. So next, how will I command it? I can use my either my brain signals or my muscular activity signals. You guys would have learned EMG, electromyogram, which is tabbed. What is the electromyogram? Electromyogram is nothing but electrical activity of muscles. Your muscle activity is being tapped and it is used to control any motors. I'll show you also examples of how it can be done and what it is used to do it. Okay, so I've already shown, for example, as I showed you, this is a prosthetic bone. Sorry, it is a, excuse me, sorry, it is a brace. It is a prosthetic leg and for an amputee of small children. This is not used for adults, this can be used for children. This is an example, I'm showing an example. As the full thing can't be viewed, like I'm showing a smaller example of it, and it is fixed with braces. It is fixed with braces. So the front end is fixed with the braces. Sorry. So it is fixed with a braces. Now an entire leg which is functional is ready. Okay, this completely was 3D printed, was additive manufactured. I'll also show you how it is manufactured and what it can be done. How it is manufactured, I'll show you that also. So yeah, coming to other examples, this is pelvical bone, 3D printed pelvical bone, which is used for, again, for study purposes. Okay, so yeah, as I was already talking, so when I'm amputated a finger, so what will I do? I'll go to a doctor. What will the doctor do? What will the doctor do? The doctor will scan my fingers, and after scanning, he'll go to, nowadays, what he does, he comes to a medical device company, and when I design a prosthetic finger, this is a prosthetic finger. You can see a prosthetic finger here. I'm holding it because it is not, as my finger is not actually amputated, I can't show it to you properly. So this is my fifth amputated finger. It is also functional. Yeah, it has hinges. You can see this, it has hinges, and it is controlled, it can be controlled with your motion of your other fingers. It can be controlled using motion of your other fingers, which fits to your amputed part. The amputed part might be different for every patient. Yes, so the amputed part is different for every patient. So what will we do? We need medical scans and the health medical report of the patient to design something very customized to the patient alone. So that is the most important point. That is the most important factor while healthcare engineers or medical electronics engineers or any biomedical engineers, when working with a product, customization and personalization is the most important point which needed to be taken care of. So yeah, coming to standards, what are the standards involved in manufacturing of any prosthetic or any medical device using additive manufacturing? There is a 4P policy. 4P in any manufacturing, every engineer needs to know what are the 4P. 4P is nothing but policy, product, personnel, and provision. I'll tell you what are these. You need to have a clear cut quality policy for your company, for any manufacturing, for any device. You need to have a prepared quality policy. You need to have a cleared products need to be cleared using FDA, ISO, CE certifications. Personnel, every single personnel is nothing but your employee or your staff or the person working with the device need to be trained with certifications with standards. Every standards need to be followed at the personal and provision of service. If for example I showed you a finger implant, if it fails in the next 5 years, what will we do? What can be done? So it need to be a lifetime of any prosthetic or an implant is a minimum of 20 years, which is approved by ISOP. ISOP is nothing but Indian Society for Orthotics and Prosthetics. Okay. So what if I want, I'll show you a video of a hand which plays with controlled with motion of your finger. If I do this, this finger will, for example, imagine this is a prosthetic hand and this is an actual hand. When I fold this, it will also fold. When I open, it will also open. How it can be done? We can use EMG signals, like my muscle signals can be tapped using EMG sensors, and it can be tapped and it can be used to control any electronic motor. Okay. I'll show you a few examples of, yeah, I'll come to this later. Before that, I'll show you a few examples. So yeah, this I hope everybody is able to view it. So this is nothing but a prosthetic arm, a complete arm, which is controlled using electromyogram, You can see fingers. You can see the entire part is 3D printed, and which are controlled using motors, which are controlled using electronically using motors. The motors are connected to every single finger. I'll show you how it works. So you can see the fingers moving. So this is a complete electronically controlled arm. This is a prototype of the arm which is completed now. This was a photograph. This was photographed a few months before. It is now complete.
Sandhya P, Revant M, please mute. All participants are requested to mute.
மூட்டு வலிக்குதுங்களா?
Sorry guys, there was an interruption. Sorry, I'll just play the videos again and explain it to you. This is simply a prosthetic arm. This is simply a prosthetic arm which was designed using 3D printing, and it has been 3D printed, and it is controlled using electronics. It is controlled using motors. Okay. The next is nothing but a simple robot which is again controlled using electronics, which uses ultrasound sensors. This, see, you guys would have checked. You guys would have seen devices. You guys would have checked robots. You guys would have checked robots which move through the hospitals inside and out, cleaning, which are disinfected. Yes, how does it detect humans? So it goes through it detects ultrasound. There are ultrasound sensors, and detects and it who devices who will work on such robots. Medical electronics engineers or biomedical engineers who are well versed with medical electronics will be working with such devices. So this is a device. This is such a device. I'll just show you. This is a simply dancing video which is again 3D printed. The same video again. And this is nothing but a pick and place robot which picks a product from a place and drops it. So for example, now in COVID-19 situation, everybody are in their personal homes, we don't prefer touching anything. So we don't even prefer touching any grocery items when we go for a grocery store. So what if we place a 3D printed robot there to pick and place it in your basket? So I'm just telling an example. I'm not telling you the practical. There are practical difficulties installing these in every grocery store, but still I'm telling you an example what 3D printing and additive manufacturing can do in the current situation. Okay. So yeah, done with that. So yeah, so medical devices or how it can be done using medical images. You can see, like I hope everybody this is visible. One second, I'll just share you the screen. Yeah, I hope this is visible to everybody. This is nothing but a medical DICOM viewer. DICOM viewer is nothing but digital communication files. Digital communication is nothing but files which are medical images which are stored in computers. Recently, DICOM is being used widely in every hospital rather than using X-ray sheets. Conventionally, we were using X-ray sheets to store all the data, but today we are storing it in cloud as DICOM files. This is an example of a DICOM image of a finger bone. So you can see a finger. This is a finger. These are three views of the same X-ray. This is an example of a CT scan. A CT scan is being viewed in a DICOM viewer. You can see that it is viewed in multiple layers. So yeah. So what we do next are skin, bone, muscles, soft tissues, hard tissues have different thresholds. So that is why you can see a difference in color. You can see light gray, dark white, gray and black. So there are different kinds of colors in your X-ray or CT. So how will you differentiate it with? So what are we doing? We are setting up threshold. We are setting up the threshold for separating the bone model from the DICOM file. So we are setting up threshold. So what do we do next? We are setting up threshold. You can see the changing of color. The color is being changed. Now it is dark green. So because we have selected a dark green color for bones, we are only setting up threshold for bones alone, so that we remove the bones from the muscular cells. We are removing only the bone cells. So after this, what do? We go through it again. We have a few parameters which need to be involved. Now you can see a part of it being cut, so that you can see this image. You can see the image. If it is being fractured here, you can cut this part alone. Now this part alone will be cut. You can see in this video a small part being cut. Can you see this? A small part is being cut and it is rendered as, sorry, and it is now once it is cut, you can see here a 3D model of the 4 fingers. Because it was cut from the side, all these parts got cut and we got all 4 fingers here. Yes, this is a 3D model of your finger bones. So your finger bones are being modeled and removed, and using another software we are removing artifacts. There are artifacts in every medical image, so we need to remove artifacts from your medical model, 3D model, which was rendered from a medical image. We had a medical image, we set threshold, we removed it as a 3D model. Now we are going through artifacts removal. The artifacts are being removed. Now the artifacts are being removed and it is now ready to be printed. Okay, so if you wanted to replace, if you wanted to do prosthetics, we use a software to do prosthetics. We design prosthetics, customize prosthetics. We use the same model and design prosthetics using the same software. We design prosthetics or braces or any implant can also be designed using the same software. You can see this. This was again designed using the same software cluster. We designed the bone. We designed an implant for the fracture which suits. You can see it fits in perfectly and it has no gaps in between, so it fits in perfectly. It is designed using the material being used is a polymer based implant. These are polymer based implants which are strengthened polymer based implants. Okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, coming to that, I'll show you the implant which was designed in this. This is the tubular bone which was printed using the same technology. It is the same bone which was printed using these software. Okay, using 3D additive manufacturing technology. Okay, 1 second, I'll just show you another thing. So yeah, what else additive manufacturing can do? I've already told prosthetics. It can help in prosthetics. It can help in braces. It can help in anatomical models. It can help in anything with additive manufacturing. 2 other parts are, one is bioprinting. Bioprinting is nothing but printing of the actual cells, printing of the stem cells. We take stem cells from a body. If it is being stored, we take stem cells, we culture it. After culturing of stem cells, it is being made as a bio ink. Bio ink is used to make products which replicates the human cells. This is called bio artificial organs, which are also called as bioprinting or bio artificial organs or tissue fabrication. We fabricate tissues. For example, Mahan Innovations have bioprinters which can manufacture, which can do tissues, skin tissues, cartilages. As of now, production of skin and cartilages are possible with 3D printers, but in the upcoming years we will be able to culture, we will be able to organize, we will be able to manufacture organs. The complete organs can be manufactured using bioprinting or tissue fabrication technique. This is one another example, one another application of bio artificial organs. Okay, so coming to the next, you can see this, a fetal model. This is a baby lying like this. A baby is lying like this. This you can see this a model of a fetal face. This is a fetal face printed from an ultrasound scan. I showed you a software which can work on medical images. We collected the DICOM files from an ultrasound technician, and we rendered it and we 3D printed this. What is the purpose of 3D printing a fetus? 3D printing a fetus. Fetus is nothing but baby which is not yet is yet to be born. So why do we need it outside? Why do we need to print it? I'll tell you two major impact it can make. For example, there can be blind patients who are not able to see the ultrasound scans. Every patient has a view of ultrasound, so that they give an immense pleasure and happiness to the parents. So what if blind parents? For blind parents, we can give it to them so they can feel the face of the baby. I'm right now. My eyes are closed and I'm feeling the baby's nose, baby's eyes, baby's hand. Okay, so I can feel it. So another example, doctors can use it for diagnosis of any physical anomaly. Any physical anomaly or any physical abnormality in a baby or fetal can be diagnosed using 3D printed models of fetal faces or fetal bodies. But in India today, only printing of individual parts of a fetal is approved by MHRD. Okay, we are not allowed to print everything because we have a restriction of showing up, like a restriction of opening the we are not allowed to reveal the gender, so we are not allowed to print the entire baby model. We are allowed to print the fetal faces, fetal arm, fetal leg. Any individual parts can be printed for with approval of the localities, with approval of the government. We can print it and we can use it for any healthcare purposes. Okay, so yeah, apart from this, what additive manufacturing can do? Additive manufacturing can do anything and everything. See, for example, the robot which I showed you, the same robot which has functional movements, it is not controlled to a microcontroller, it has functional movements. A functional movement which can facilitate functions, it can be used. It also have ultrasound sensor gaps. It is not completed yet. It is a prototype of the same model which I showed you earlier. Okay, this is another fetal model. Again, you can see the face of the baby. This is the fetal model of the same baby lying in a different position. The baby is lying in a different position, so we can also judge the position of the baby if the baby has any physical anomaly. So you can ask this question, will I be not able to identify the physical anomaly using an ultrasound? Yes, absolutely, you can get it from ultrasound. To get more precision on your diagnosis, you can get 3D models. 3D models. Also to plan your surgery, you can have 3D printed models. Yeah, this is again an animatronic eye. You can see an eyeball. This is an animatronic animatronic eyeball. Again 3D printed, customized for every single person's eyeball. What is the purpose? Again, pre-surgical planning can be done using additive manufacturing. Okay. So yeah. What else can be done using additive manufacturing? Additive manufacturing has shown its evidence of manufacturing in every single sector. Even for mechanical engineering, additive manufacturing is being used widely. For example, we can make gears, we can make car bodies, we can make bike bodies, frames, we can make anything using additive manufacturing. Even in space, there are technologies, there are companies working with space additive manufacturing, so that we can take only 3D printers and raw materials to the space, and we can make 3D printed models, 3D printed rockets, 3D printed satellites in space and assemble it there. So that is, I'm not telling it is possible in the next 5 years. It can be possible in the next 20 years. Also, one thing, you can get your models, you can get your artificial organs 3D printed in the next 20 years. You will have artificial organ banks. You can give money to somebody to develop your own artificial organ. This can be possible in the next 20 years because researchers are already in phase. Okay, so there are 3D printed hearts available today. Only Israeli scientists have 3D printed their hearts, a smaller heart, and it has been placed on a rat which is under testing. Once, like, it is like all this I talk about are printing and in research field. Another example is you can see a home. These are architectural models. A model of an a home which is printed. So these are models. These are gift items, or these can be used by civil engineers to make their physical models. But what if we could print an entire home? Yes. So that is you can feel like it is not possible. No, it is possible today. There are 3D printed homes available in in China, in Japan, but in India there is only one Indian company working on 3D printing of homes, which will be in full fledged in the next 5 years. We'll be having 3D printed small homes. What is the advantage of 3D printing a home? You can print a home in 4 or 5 days. The entire home can be completed in a period of month, including the internal structuring with higher strength. But it will increase the cost. Obviously, it will increase the cost. Whatever I talk about is highly expensive. How do we bring down the cost? When everybody starts using it, when everybody gets a knowledge about it, they'll start using it. When everybody starts using it, the prices will gradually come down. Okay. Hope everybody understands it. I'm not very sure like how is this working, because we have been conducting webinars, we have been conducting workshops and seminars through online. I'm not very sure how is it helping you people. It is helping me anyway, like talking to my our companies. This is being registered, but I'm not very sure the participant interaction is not very clear. So I'll anyway answer your queries in the chat section soon. So yeah, I'll tell you an example what additive manufacturing or what augmented reality and virtual reality is doing in healthcare. If you wanted to know how it is making an impact in the world, you can attend a workshop which starts on Monday. You can attend a workshop which is on 18th. It is a paid workshop. The fees is 400 rupees. I'm just telling it. The fees is rupees 400. If you wanted to attend it, if you wanted to know how augmented and virtual reality is impacting the world, you can attend this workshop on Monday to Wednesday. It is from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You can register in our website given below. You can note it down if you want it. Only interested people, this is not a promotion. Only if you are interested, www.machenn.com is our website. You can also follow us in our Facebook pages, in our social media sites, MACHENITEAS. This is our Instagram profile, Facebook profile, and LinkedIn profile for any of our professional updates. You can follow this. Okay, so now coming to the question and answer session, which, why, and where. Okay, I'll read your chats now and I'll respond to your chats. If you have any, we are done with our session. Like I've given a short overview of what additive manufacturing can do, how medical electronics department can help in additive manufacturing, can help in improving healthcare. So if you have any queries, you can drop it in the chat. I'll respond it one by one. Okay, thank you so much for being so patient. I'll respond it and I'll also give an overview later.
Participants, if you have any doubts, queries, please post your questions, queries to the resource person. Vishnu sir, I think they are posted the question in the
Yes,
the message.
from Ramachandra, sir, did you 3D print all the blocks for this arm? Yes, the arm which I showed in the video is completely 3D printed. Every single part of it was 3D printed. Everything I show was 3D printed. It was not manufactured using any other technology. Everything which I showed are completely 3D printed. The entire parts of this is 3D printed, was 3D printed. It's not, it was 3D printed. About the microcontroller, we are not supposed to use it. We are not supposed to expose it because we are trying to patent it. We are working on a new methodology to work on electromyograms. So I'm not. You can use any microcontrollers to control any micro servo motors. You can use any microcontroller which can control a micro servo motors. But the one which we are using, we are not supposed to expose it. I'm very sorry for that. The software being used, again we are using Autodesk Mesh Mixer for the sculpting purposes, and the DICOM viewer, we are also using DICOM viewer and Mesh Mixer for the medical imaging technique and the artifact removal purposes. It was a question by Mr. Ray, Mr. Ramachandra again. What is the software being used? The software being used are already told, compatible for every person. Yes, absolutely, bioartificial organs are compatible to every person because the artificial organs developed are from my stem cells. We don't use any other, we don't have a neglection due to tissue rejection. There is no tissue rejection or any biocompatibility issues because every bioartificial organs which are fabricated using bioprinting makes use of my stem cell. My stem cells are used to manufacture my skin cells or my earlobe, my nose, my cartilage of my nose, or any organ, any internal organ are manufactured or fabricated using my own cells, my own stem cells. So it doesn't cause any biocompatibility issues. I'm not telling there are no issues, there is no biocompatibility issues, but there are many practical difficulties to place it in the human body. For example, the life of an bioartificial organ. What is the life of a bioartificial organ? The life needed to be very high of any bioartificial organ. As I already said, 20 years is the minimum validity, minimum lifetime of any implant or any prosthetic. So for even for a bioartificial organ, the lifetime should be minimum 20 years. So it should withstand in the human body. So now, as of now, there are plenty of researchers, there are immense research going on for the on bioartificial organs. As of now, like we are not yet to reveal everything that it can be placed in the tomorrow. If I'm going through an if I'm going through a liver failure, I can't go and get a bioartificial organ tomorrow. It can be possible in the next 10 years. Yeah, very good question. What is the lifespan of things made by using 3D printing? It is not made by using 3D printing. It has nothing to do with 3D printing, the technology. It depends on the material. For example, I showed you this material. This material is nothing but polylactic acid. The lifetime of polylactic acid is only 2 to 3 years. It is a biodegradable material. So like the lifetime is very less for such materials. To improve the lifetime, we'll be compositing it with other materials like carbon nanotubes or single wall carbon nanotubes. We'll be compositing it so that it improves the lifetime. We are also working on metal implants. So metal implants have a lifetime of about 20 years. Okay, so it depends on the material being used and not the technology being used. It always depends on the material being used. If you are using a titanium implant, the lifetime can be around 20 to 25 years because titanium is such a strong material. Okay, what type of is 3D printing? Physical objects from digital model. Yeah, you can use any material. I missed it. Thank you for asking the question. The question was, what type of material is used in 3D printing to make the physical objects from digital model? See, a digital model, for example, I have a digital model of a boat. Okay, I have a paper here, I'm prototyping it, or a rocket. I'm making a rocket right now. So I made a rocket. I made a glider now in 2 minutes. This I prototyped using paper. Now I'll show you. I'll show you 1 second. I'll just show you a glider which was 3D printed. The same glider. This is a paper glider. This is a paper glider. I'll again show you a 3D printed glider which can be used for the same purpose, but it is 3D printed. So it depends on the material being used. That was used. This is a 3D printed glider. It can be, you can see the video of it flying in our Instagram page or Facebook page. You can see it flying. You can see the video of it. It is being 3D printer. The material being used is again polylactic acid. So polylactic acid is a biocompatible and biodegradable material which is widely used in additive manufacturing and in healthcare. There are different types of materials. We can use any polymer, any metal or any material which any composite can be used in additive manufacturing. Yeah. How to make organs created using 3D printing functional as conventional body organs do. So what we are doing is we are simply cloning. Cloning is nothing but making a replica of your individual human being. We are using the same technology, but we are only culturing organs. We are going to make artificially human organs. Okay, using stem cells, because stem cells, you see, there are multiple tissue assays, we have assays, immunoassays, self-assembly assays. There are different types of assays of tissue culture. We are going to culture it. You would have seen small tissue cultured hybrids of plants. The same way, we are going to use it to make bioartificial organs. We'll be collecting stem cells, we'll be culturing it in a culture media, we'll be culturing it, we'll be using to fabricate a small heart. For example, I'm making a heart, I'll fabricate it using hydrogel and collagen along with biocells. Okay, there will be cells embedded and we'll be placing it in a bio incubator. It is also called as a bioreactor. Bioreactor or a bio incubator is nothing but an incubator which gives immense nutrients and it takes care of the heart for almost 3 to 6 months. And what happens in 3 to 6 months? The heart starts growing. Okay, it is not functional, but it starts vascularizing because it is getting all the nutrients available in the incubator. So the heart starts growing and it vascularizes automatically. So then it is being placed on a human patient. This is the proposed idea, and I'm not telling this is now available in market. It is not available in market today. It is under research. This is a research field. Yeah, what is deposited layer by layer? Anything can be deposited layer by layer. I can show you. For example, this, you can see it very closer. You have layers of material. Plastic is being used in this model. Okay. It is Autodesk Mesh Mixer. MESHMIXER, Mesh Mixer. Yeah, like for any implant, for any the question is, isn't the human immune response an hindrance for an implant? Yes, absolutely. An implant is always an hindrance for the human immune response. So every time you place an implant, there need to be immunosuppression drugs. Like for every implant, you will be going through an immunosuppression drug. There is no 100% biocompatibility in any implant being used. Yes, that is, see, every time we are giving something artificial to a human being. So everything, for example, if for example my hair falls into my human body tract, it even can cause a digestion problem in my stomach. That is a human part. A human body part can cause a digestion problem in the human body. So when you're placing an artificial organ, absolutely there will be a hindrance. But how to bring down the hindrances? Using biocompatible materials. Polylactic acid is 97% biocompatible, which can be placed in any human body, even inside and outside. So polylactic acid is such material. And again, titanium, nitinol, stainless steel are also biocompatible materials which can be used to improve the hindrance process. How long does it take to print something? It depends on the size of the object. I can't say that, for example, this took me 4 hours to print. The same way, this will only take, this year is smaller than that, this will only take 2 hours. It depends on the size, it depends on the quality, it depends on the structure. It is not like fix it, this is the only time taken to print something. It depends on the size, structure, model. That's why I told, when you print a 3D printer at home, you'll be using larger nozzles. But see, for example, everybody would have seen making murku, no? When you have smaller nozzle, you'll be making accurate smaller murku in larger number of time. If you're having larger molds and if you wanted to make bigger things, you can make bigger things in a faster time. So it depends on the nozzle being used. You can see a 3D printer there. like that is a 3D printer. An FDM printer, a small 3D printer which can make accurate models. It is a high precision 3D printer which can make accurate models. You can see no discrepancy in the ear model. You can see a ear model. There is no discrepancy. It was a completely 3D printed model from a CT scan. There is no discrepancy. Okay. So such models will take time, 4 to 5 hours. Okay. How long does it take for time to 3D printing? I answer the question. Guys, if my answers are not satisfying, please do mention in the chat. I'll also give an explanation again. Okay? If you don't understand or if you feel that your answer is not answered properly, if your question is not answered properly. What is the best scanning technique for producing high resolution image for 3D printing? It doesn't bother it doesn't have an impact on what is the best imaging technique used. Today we have multiple imaging techniques. Being like there is one ultrasound GE Voluson from General Engineering, GE Voluson, Voluson. That is one 3D one ultrasound scanning equipment which is capable of giving 3D printable models. That equipment is capable of giving 3D printable models. We can use any scanning equipment which has a 3D imaging technique. We can't use any 2D imaging techniques like X-rays for 3D printing. We need 3D imaging techniques. For example, higher resolution medical imaging techniques will give us higher resolution models. When it comes to metal made implants, how does it cause toxicity to? Does it may cause toxicity to human body? Absolutely, metal implants, any implant or any foreign object being placed inside or outside your body will cause a immune response, will definitely cause an immune response. For example, a simple example I'll show you. When you wear a watch made up of stainless steel, it doesn't cause you any harm. But when you're forced to use a nylon watch or a 5 rupee watch or a 6 rupee watch, you won't get a watch for 5 or 6 rupees. I'm telling for an example, a local made watch, it will your skin will definitely react to the sub quality or the super quality of the material being used. So every object being placed will cause a toxicity, an amount of toxicity, but we being engineers, we work on bringing down the toxicity. We work on different materials, we work on different technologies, bringing down the toxicity, bringing down the immune response of the human body so that placing an implant doesn't cause any harm to the patient. Does the cost of the product depend on the type of the material used or something else? Yes, absolutely. It depends on the material. For example, if you're going for a gold jewelry, it will cost you 20,000. The same jewelry, the same design made using silver will bring the cost down. So it depends on the material. It depends on the structure. It also depends on the technology being used. For example, making, I'll show you one thing which is used to fight COVID-19, which was prototyped in our company. This is a face shield. You can see a face shield which covers my entire face from getting interacted to any person. This helps me in supporting. This is a simple prototype. For manufacturing it with 3D printing, it will cost you around 120 rupees to 140 rupees if you are using 3D printing. But when you go for injection molding, it will cost you around 40 rupees per piece. So it brings down the cost. So you'll also need to know what technology to be used where. I'll be using 3D printing to prototype or to make customizations, not to make larger objects, not to make mass manufacturing. I won't manufacture spectacles in 1,000 numbers using 3D printing. Okay. Cost and cost also depends on the time taken for the for example, it depends on the human resource. Cost always depends on multiple factors. It is not like, for example, gold. What does 24 karat gold mean? What is the gold in mines mean? So there is multiple facilities going through and taxes going through. So cost is depend on multiple factors. Does the immunosuppression drug makes any vulnerable to infections? Not absolutely, but there are side effects. Does the cost of the product that is being answered, doesn't the immunosuppression drug make us vulnerable to infection? Absolutely, there are chances, but we don't consider, like, we don't give an immunosuppression drug as a without test. An immunosuppression drug being tested for 7 years. A drug is tested for minimum of 7 years. After that, it is going for a human trial. Only after multiple trials, only after discussing the side effects with the patients or with the multiple doctors, we go for immunosuppression drugs. Okay, for example, to reduce the impact of metal implants on human body, we coat it with polylactic acid. Polylactic acid is a completely biodegradable material and biocompatible material which has 97% biocompatibility. Okay, biocompatibility. It is 97% of biocompatibility. So we always coat any metal implant with polylactic acid. Polylactic acid is a material derived from starch. It is derived from starch. You can check it online. Polylactic acid is the material. So it can be vulnerable to infections. For example, COVID-19. We are not immune to COVID-19. So we are not. So for example, COVID-19, we are not supposed to have immunosuppression drugs for COVID-19 because it affects the immunal system of the human body. Cons of 3D printing, if any. Cons of 3D printing, like there are cons for everything. There are disadvantages for every single thing being used in this era. So there is nothing without a disadvantages. The disadvantage of 3D printing, as of I know, is people using 3D printing technology for mass manufacturing. Never use 3D printers for mass manufacturing. If you wanted to make this finger in thousands or 10,000s, don't go for 3D printing. That is the one cause. Mass manufacturing is not possible with additive manufacturing technology or 3D printing because you need lower cost, higher customization. Go for 3D printing. If you want higher customization with higher cost, you won't prefer it. Lower the cost, higher the customization, go for 3D printing. Patients affected by immune. The question is, patients affected by immune related disease can also be implanted by those implants. Does it cause any further worsening of their illness? Patients affected by immune related diseases can also be implanted by those implants. Does it cause any further worsening of their illness? Not absolutely, because while placing an impact, there are multiple tests we take before placing an implant. An implant is not just implanted, the health condition, the complete health condition of a patient is being analyzed. I'm talking about implants, not about prosthetics. Prosthetics, the things which are supports are external, doesn't need any such technical complications. Only for implants we have such technical complications. Immune related diseases, absolutely they have a serious problem. For example, somebody who is already placing a defibrillator, who has a, sorry, not for a defibrillator, who has an artificial pacemaker, can't go through MRI scans. He's not allowed inside an MRI equipment machine. Why? Because he is already having a metal implant inside his body. People having metal implants are not allowed or are allowed inside MRI machines with high care, because that implant can cause any technical difficulty in the MRI scans. So such things need to be taken care of. There can be, I'm not telling there can't be, but with absolute care from the patients, from the engineers involved, from the doctors involved, high accuracy is required in healthcare. No, like even the technology 3D printing is not copyrighted. It is not patented. The patent was filed in the year 1840, and in the year 2000, the patent for 3D printing has been released. And for 3D printing models, you can copyright your own models. If you want, you need to copyright it. I'm not telling it is not copyrighted. It can be copyrighted. It cannot be copyrighted. It depends on the model. And if, for example, such models, the head sheet. This is designed by, you can see our company's name, MACHE. This was designed by our company, and it is not copyrighted because we wanted to give it for free. There are multiple companies designing head shields and give it for free. Okay, so copywriting depends on the purpose of the, for example, if you wanted to, such models are copyrighted. Fetal models are copyrighted. Any medical model which is customized, a patient model are copyrighted. Nowadays, even medical devices are also approved by ethics committee, and thus 3D printing also needs human trial. Not absolutely human, not 3D printing, like it is not comes under ethical committee. Not all medical devices, a few medical devices which comes in direct contact with human body comes under drug law. It comes under the ethical committee as You said it comes under drug law. So not every medical equipment. For example, photoplethysmograph doesn't come under drug law. An ECG machine doesn't come under drug law. These are medical electronic devices. Okay, devices and 3D printing. It comes under implants come under drug law. Prosthetics doesn't come under drug law. Okay, implants need to go through. For example, 3D printed implants. We have already sent this for FDA approval. We have, these are polymer based metal implants. Polymer based metal implants 3D prints are 3D printed, which has higher accuracy. Higher, these are yet to be approved. We are yet to, like, we have a pending patent application for this model, for this technology. This is yet to be approved, but we need to go through human trials for implants, not for prosthetics, or it is not generally 3D printing goes through. This is a technology being used everywhere, 3D printing. But the procedures, as I already told, the policy, the procedure need to be standardized. The procedure need to be standardized. The procedure of manufacturing need to be standardized. We have already applied for the standardization of medical models. Okay. Yeah, I hope like all your answers are answered. Like there are a few questions which not answered, which is not answered. Thank you, fine. Thank you, sir. We are ending this session because if you need to know more about additive manufacturing, you can log into our website. There will be a pop called Virtual COVID-19 Virtual Workshop Series. We are conducting workshops and seminars. Throughout that, you can register there www.mache.com. You can register there and you can attend workshops which we personally conduct on additive manufacturing. You can explain, like there is a complete workshop of 3 days which involves designing, prototyping and manufacturing. Okay, thank you all for attending. Thank you, sir. Sadiq sir, thank you for attending. Thank you for this session.
Really, thank you,
All the
Vishnu.
best for everybody.
And
Stay safe, stay home.
dear participants, my dear students, we also plan to organize workshop, and also we have planned to purchase 3D printing machine from Mac and Innovations. Already it was in our pipeline.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Fortunately, after this lockdown and after the starting of the current semesters, we will have a hands-on training workshop with the Mac and Innovations, and we also have to have a plan to purchase a machine from Mac and Innovations, and hope Mr. Vishnu, really it is a very wonderful explanation, and example of Murukku is really a better example.
Thank you.
Really a good example of Murukku, which is a good example for additive technology, 3D printing. So, thank you for simplified give a good feeding knowledge to our students and the participants. Thank you so much. On behalf of my department and my organization and institute and from the management side, I express my sincere thanks to you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You are a wonderful youngster and a startup technopreneur and a nice person. And I request our students and participants have a good touch with Mr. Vishnu. He will really guide you if you are really interested in 3D printing technology.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you, sir. We will meet soon. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good luck. Good luck, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Stay safe, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear participants, after this end of the session, we have send your send your assessment link, feedback link to your email ID, and after submitting, fill the forms. The e-certificate will be sent to your email ID. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.